Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and welcome to Recyclist. It's November 29th, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Provost, and this is your weekly roundup of all the biggest news stories in the world of waste, gas, and energy, presented by Diamond Scientific. First things first, and as always, let's take a quick look at the stock market and 5 stocks on the move this week within the world of waste, gas, and energy. As of November 29th, 2024, Waste Management is now sitting at $228.22 per share. Black Hills Corp now sits at $63.40 per share. Forum Energy Technologies remained fairly steady week over week, now sitting at $15.25 per share. Evergy Incorporated is now up to $64.63 per share. And Clean Energy Fuels Corp bumped up a bit week over week, now at $3.08 per share. But moving into the news, first up, the potential impact of the incoming presidential administration was addressed this past week at the Corporate Growth Conference in Chicago, specifically in regards to the future of recent regulations implemented by the United States Environmental Protection Agency on per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, otherwise known as PFAS. Michael Jensen, the Senior Counsel and Director of Regulatory Affairs for Waste Management, says there's a quote-unquote good chance the EPA would be directed to walk back its designation of certain PFAS as hazardous under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act. Jensen went on to say, quote, "We think that is the wrong way to approach regulation, but we're not opposed to regulation entirely," end quote. In regards to how companies should approach the chemicals for the foreseeable future, Brian Staley, the president and CEO of the Environmental Research and Education Foundation, said, quote, "We're in this weird space. If you own a company, do you manage PFAS? Do you avoid it? The hedge would be manage it as if it's more concerning than not. Then if it ends up being concerning, then you can deal with that at a later time," end quote. And speaking of recent regulations announced by the U.S. EPA, this past week the organization released the Finalized National Strategy to Prevent Plastic Pollution. It lays out actions to eliminate the release of plastic waste into the environment by 2040. The final version follows an April 2023 draft that drew nearly 92,000 comments, according to the agency, including from waste, recycling, and packaging groups. Within the announcement, EPA Administrator Michael Regan said, quote, "From reducing cancer-causing pollution from plastic manufacturing facilities to increasing industry's accountability to take back recycled plastic packaging, to capturing waste before it ends up in our bodies and the environment, this strategy lays out the path forward for the EPA and our partners to tackle this persistent challenge," end quote. And now moving to wastewater. This past week, company Hydro Reserve announced their brand new wastewater treatment system they claim will revolutionize the industry without relying on biological processes or chemical additives. In a release from the company, Hydro Reserve says their proprietary mechanical water filtration technology achieves 98 to 99% BOD reduction while bringing total suspended solids and fats, oils, and grease to non-detect levels. Alex Argento, the president of Hydro Reserve, even said, quote, "Our system is not just a step forward, it's actually quite a leap. We've developed a one-of-a-kind mechanical solution that addresses some of the industry's toughest challenges, ensuring compliance and sustainability without compromising efficiency," end quote. Hydro Reserve is currently entering their first round of funding. And up next, this past week at the Global Climate Conference, COP29, the United States and 29 other countries agreed to set methane emission reduction targets for organic waste. Other signatories included Canada, Russia, Brazil, the United Kingdom, and South Korea, but notably China and India, the world's 2 largest methane emitters, were absent from the agreement. Martina Otto, the head of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition convened by the UN Environment Program, said, quote, "Fast-tracking actions to reduce methane from organic waste is critical to keep the goals of the Paris Agreement within reach and can strengthen our food systems globally while harnessing circular economy opportunities." End quote. And just a quick reminder, Recyclist is a registered trademark of Diamond Scientific, an industry leader in gas analysis, instrumentation, and solutions. Make sure to visit them online at diamondsci.com. That's diamondsci.com. Or you can even set up a personalized presentation by calling 321-223-7500. Now on with the news. Moving to Missouri, St. Louis recently took out the largest loan in the history of Missouri's Clean Water Fund to make upgrades to the LeMay wastewater treatment plant. The $640 million loan is equal to almost the entire current balance of the state's fund for smaller projects. According to a release, the loan covers the entire cost of the project and will save ratepayers in the district about $402 million in interest payments over the 30-year term of the loan. The money will be used to replace 2 incinerators as well as build new solids processing buildings. It's expected to be completed by December 2028. And up next, we have a trio of California-based stories to end our Thanksgiving broadcast with. First up, the California Air Resources Board recently voted to amend their low-carbon fuel standard, updating a sweeping transportation fuels program that incentivizes projects nationwide and seeks to decarbonize the sector. The amendments package was backed by clean fuels groups whose membership include waste companies like Waste Management and Republic Services. During a marathon hearing, the board also greenlit plans to craft a new regulation requiring dairy farms to manage their methane emissions, though that regulation is not set to go into effect until 2030. And up next in California, Cal Biogas Hemlar LLC, a joint investment between Chevron USA and California Bioenergy LLC, announced this past week they have completed the central processing facility for their dairy biomethane project in Merced County. Upon completion of the project, the estimated annual emissions reduction will be approximately 95,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalent per year. Nure Elsie, Vice President of Renewables at Chevron, said, quote, "We are proud of the progress we have made on these projects alongside our partner CalBio as we continue to provide lower carbon intensity fuels for the California market. This partnership allows us to complement the strength of our traditional business to provide a broader suite of solutions to our customers." End quote. And lastly, Clean Energy Fuels Corp recently announced the opening of a newly expanded renewable natural gas fueling station in the city of Carson, California. Designed, constructed, and operated by Clean Energy, the station is owned by Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts and will provide clean RNG fuel to the public as well as districts' vehicles, local public transit buses, waste haulers, and medium to heavy-duty trucks. The newly expanded station supports the district's ongoing commitment to converting waste into resources and transitioning its fleet to cleaner, low-carbon fuels. The station is expected to sell the equivalent of 1 million gallons of gasoline per year as more fleets, commercial, and passenger vehicles make the switch to ultra-clean RNG. Chad Lindholm, Senior Vice President of Sales at Clean Energy, said, quote, "This fueling station expansion comes at a pivotal time as demand for RNG continues to grow and fleets seek convenient access for fueling. By increasing new locations for fueling with RNG, we help fleets in the region cut emissions, improve air quality in the areas they operate, all while offering a proven alternative fuel." End quote. And that will do it for your November 29th, 2024 news roundup brought to you by Recyclist, a trademark of Diamond Scientific. I've been your host, Eric Provost. Once again, everybody, happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you back here next week for another brand new episode of Recyclist. Thank you.